My name is Paulette Mitchell, and I am extremely grateful for the opportunity to share my findings with you all tonight. I'm grateful for Global Water Partnership Caribbean for giving me the honor of interning with them. So with that due, I will do my introduction. So my aim in this entire project was to assess the risk of water contamination and the perception of water quality. Essentially, I was going around in the community, basically asking you if you think your water is safe to consume, if you think that there are contaminants present in your drinking water. So this would have been helpful to mitigating risk as well as managing your expectations with the project. So we saw that there was exposure of risk to landslides, contamination risk, and to understand how these factors intersect with the land characteristics. Next slide, please. So an entire overview. I'm sure you're familiar, but Mount Granby community comprises of approximately 150 households located in the parish of St. John, and the water distribution system was established several decades ago. So essentially, old pipes in need of rejuvenation. So the community does not receive potable water from a municipal system because it has been operating its water independently, which I'm sure you're all familiar of. The water is not treated, and this is a risk because failure in the dam structure or contamination from upstream sources can lead to the spread of waterborne diseases. Next slide. So the dam is located approximately 0.9 kilometers north of the cul-de-sac of houses to the northern end of the community. And we can see this image here illustrating that. Next slide. So we would have assessed some public health risk associated with the water system infrastructure of the community. That would be principally contamination. So based on the assessment that I did, the surveys, 73% of the community survey participants consume unfiltered water, whose source is from the dam. And this leaves community members susceptible to contaminants that can get into the water from upstream. That's also compounded by the fact that most of you do not use filters, and therefore there is also risk to contamination of the pipes as well. Next slide. So 61% of the participants that I surveyed said that there was some scarcity experienced during the dry season, and some stating that there was water contamination issues, but that was easily taken care of by leaving the pipes open and allowing brown water to flow until it's clear. Most community members indicated that water is readily available when they need it, and a lack of pipes and infrastructure can cause no access to some community members, but when I was doing the survey, I noticed that neighbors would often share water with their neighbors, right? So if they were not connected to the water system, then they could go by their neighbor and they can run a pipe, and they would also get access to water. Next slide. So this is an image. It's just showing some elevation of the area. And the area in red would indicate where there is high, and the area in blue would indicate where the area is low, right? So using this software to sort of assess the landscape, we see that the shape of the catchment area makes it susceptible to flooding, right? Next slide. So vulnerable populations. While doing this survey, I noticed that there were a number of individuals who were over the age of 65. And research has shown that elderly, children, and pregnant women are considered vulnerable subgroups of populations that are sensitive to waterborne diseases. Next slide. So what are my recommendations based on these findings? The highest priority in this community is ensuring the access of clean drinking water. The reliance on untreated water poses significant risk to the development of waterborne diseases. Portable microfiltration systems can be distributed to individual households. Solar disinfection, which uses UV radiation from sunlight to purify water, is also another viable option for the community since it does not use chemical disinfectants. Yeah? Next slide. So the water distribution system was old and outdated and should be replaced with more resistant, pipes resistant to corrosion. So the dam should also be reinforced to be less susceptible to floods. Also, given that 73% of the community consumes unfiltered water and 75% do not boil the water that they consume, public health education on the risk associated with consuming untreated water should be a priority for this community.